Good evening. Welcome to Pathways to Success. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Hunter, and we have a great treat for you this evening. We have attorney and owner of Champions for Justice Law, Norman Harris, currently married to Alicia Harris. As a matter of fact, both of them were featured on the Steve Harvey Show in January 2021. And so we're so excited to have them here. Norman is a father, attorney, musician, vocalist, electric and bass guitarist, writer, public speaker, lecturer, and ordained clergy. He also holds a bachelor's degree in English and religion, a doctorate in jurisprudence from law school, and a master's of divinity. Highly qualified. Harris is also the owner of Champions for Justice Law, LLC in Tampa, Florida. He's an executive board member of the George Edgecombe Bar Association also, and serves as the elected general counsel. He's also a member of the Florida Justice Association and serves as assistant general counsel for the Southern Western jurisdiction of the Church of God in Christ in Florida. Norman is the legal and business consultant for several church ministries and entertainers in the music industry also. He's also a contributing writer for Emerge magazine and appears as a legal commentator for the television series For Man, aired on TV One and other television networks. He is a member of several major organizations all around the state of Florida and plays a vital role in them all. His goal is to win victory for humanity. Norman, welcome
Thank
to
you.
Pathway to Success. You and Alicia.
Thank you so much. We're so honored to be here. My wife will join shortly. Uh,
Yes.
it's such an honor to be with you this evening, Dr. Hunter.
Thank
Thank
you so much for joining us. What an impressive resume. Again, I know I asked you off air. How do you how do you balance all these responsibilities that you have, being a husband, a father, and being an attorney, very successful attorney, and also a clergyman?
Well, I often refer to the bumblebee analogy. A bumblebee doesn't sit and contemplate the size of its body when it considers the size of its wings. It just flaps and flies. Sometimes we just have to do what we have to do. In the words of Nike, just do it.
I like that. I like that, oh man. I like that. Tell us where and how. Tell us where and how did your journey started?
Well, it started in a rural city called Manchester, Georgia. I was born to the union of my parents, James and Carolyn Harris. I have seven siblings, and Manchester is a little rural town with limited opportunity, but I dared to dream big in a small place. And my parents encouraged my and my siblings' dreams and encouraged us to focus both salvation and education. And I believe it's because of faith and my focus on pursuing education that God has blessed me to emerge to where I am today. Although my journey is not nearly complete, I am thankful for the ways that I have come.
You're an attorney. What type of law do you practice? Because
I practice criminal defense and personal injury and some music entertainment law.
that's good, very rounded. What? Tell me something. What or who inspired you to become an attorney?
Well, as a child, my dad was a educator, and my mom was an educator. My dad taught high school. My mom taught early childhood education. And in my community, there were many Black educators, preachers, and funeral home directors. But I always wanted to do something different. And I started to study Johnny Cochran and Willie Gary. We all know Johnny Cochran was a phenomenal criminal defense attorney, and Willie Gary is a phenomenal personal injury attorney. And although I was afraid, I dared to dream. I knew that I could become something else other than just the my limited exposure to professionals in education, in ministry, and the funeral home business for Blacks. So I focused those two attorneys primarily. And with my focus and inspiration from Willie Gary and Johnny Cochran, I continued to follow my dream until ultimately I went to law school, graduated, took the bar, passed, and now practicing law in Florida.
Wow. Congratulations. Now it's amazing because you sit on so many boards, right? So many boards.
Yes, sir.
And you're so multi-talented and so gifted that you literally during the COVID pandemic, you you actually became Cupid also.
Yes. Yes. Came
You're so, it's amazing. I mean, you are the best.
well, I was always taught good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good becomes better and your better becomes best.
But tell me, how did you got on the Steve Harvey show? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, when my wife and I got together, one of her friends is a PR, and she submitted the story as a COVID love story to a blog, and the blog picked up the story. And when the blog picked up the story, different news and media outlets start reaching out, and we ended up doing a interview with Bay News 9, which is a local news outlet here in Tampa, Florida, the Tampa Bay area. Then they decided to come to the wedding, and they did a follow-up by running a special on the wedding. And one day, my wife received notice from one of Steve Harvey's producers that they had seen our story and wanted to invite us to become a part of one of Steve Harvey's shows. And during that conversation, the producer found out my wife was at that time pregnant. And so they was like, this is a great idea. You come and do the interview. And Steve Harvey has never done a gender reveal. And from that emerged a gender reveal as well.
And you're now celebrating. Your daughter is now here. What's her name?
Her name is Journey Adriana Harris. She was born February the 8th at 2:50 a.m. And she was just a blessing to both me and her mom. I've always wanted a child, and God did not forget about me. He sent a beautiful baby girl.
Well, God did not forget about you because He gave you also two beautiful girls, your
Absolutely.
wife and your Journey.
Absolutely. The blessing of the mom came first.
You got a double portion blessing.
At a time least expected,
But
right
can,
at the time of COVID.
at the at the time of COVID. But how did you meet Alicia, your wife?
Well, a mutual friend, uh, Teresa Gonzalez, told Alicia about me and then told me about Alicia. At the time, I wasn't so interested because I just was not feeling the whole hookup type of situation. But when COVID hit, my life slowed down. And I remember distinctly, it was specifically during the time when there was a shutdown. And I'm home, not used to being home all the time. And I began to rethink some things. And that was one of the things I rethought, maybe entertain the idea of meeting somebody who was suggested to me by a mutual friend might not be a bad idea. So Alicia is on the Instagram as an Instagram follower of the mutual friend, and I'm an Instagram follower of the mutual friend. And so I was able to see some postings, which led me to Alicia's page. And I'm like, okay, she seems to be a beautiful professional woman with goals and very driven to do things positively. So, you know, if nothing else, I could become acquainted and we become friends. So I reached out and the way Instagram works, right, is you can post an Instagram story
Yes.
and you can post multiple stories. So Alicia had posted a picture of herself, but right after that was the post of a picture of one of her female friends. I was trying to type a compliment to the picture that Alicia posted of herself, and somehow when it sent as a compliment to the picture of her friend. So we were off to a rocky start.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Very
But
rocky.
thankfully, the mutual friend was available to clarify and make things right and get things back on track for us.
Wow. That is an amazing story. But how long you both dated before you decide to say, Alicia, I want to make you that my wife, my lifelong partner?
Okay, well, we made contact via Instagram the last part of April. We had our first telephone conversation. That
Hold on, counselor. Throughout the whole time, you're just speaking on Instagram. There was no verbal conversation.
No, not for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Really?
Right. We made
Wow.
back on Instagram and I don't know, the 26th, 27th of April, 2020. And I believe it was the 9th of May. It was the Saturday before Mother's Day. And I believe it was the 9th of May was the date that we first talked on the telephone.
Oh,
So that had to be about 2 to 3 weeks.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And and,
So
and
I'm sorry.
when you heard her voice, what went through your
Well, it was something magical from the first conversation because um, we ended up talking on the phone about 3 hours, which is uncharacteristic for both her and me.
right.
But it was something transpired in that conversation. I will tell you, before Alicia and I became acquainted, a friend of mine in Georgia, he's a lawyer and he's a believer, he recommended that I write a list of qualities I wanted in a wife. Reluctantly, out of obedience, I wrote the list. And 2 or 3 weeks later is when Alicia and I became acquainted. And during that first conversation, something magical happened. And somehow the list came up. And it didn't, thankfully, it didn't run her away that this crazy guy, first conversation with me on the phone, talking about a list. But whatever magically what was going on or transpiring, it just made for the magnificence of the moment. And wow, this was May, and we went out on our first date. First time we met in person was July the 8th of 2020. So
Wow.
we talked over the phone for another month and a couple of weeks
Mhm.
before we got to see each other in person. And I would say, less than 2 months after we met in person on July 8th, I proposed on her birthday, August the 26th.
Wow. That's a beautiful picture of you proposing. Right. Was that by the ocean or?
Yes, that's at a resort with the ocean here in Clearwater,
Mhm.
Sand Pearl Resort.
Oh.
I know from conversations with her, I knew that she loved water, and it was her birthday. Being that it was her birthday, it just made it so much easier for me to pull off this proposal as a surprise because she's thinking I'm doing all of this just for her birthday, only to find out later that all of this was planned to end with a surprise proposal on the water.
Wow. This is such an amazing story. Most of the times you hear these stories, is it really on this? For those who, for the women who love to watch Disney,
Yeah.
Prince Charm comes on and just sweep the princess away, and they're happily ever after married. This is I love this story. This is very interesting.
And now
We're
here's
going to take a short break.
yes,
This is getting juicy. It's getting better and better, and we're going to return back with Pathway to Success with attorney Norman Harris and Alicia Harris.
thank you.
There's a new sports bar and grill in town, Tasty's Soul Food Sports Bar and Grill. Join T-Dog and all his celebrity friends for the grand opening on Saturday, May 1st, beginning at 2 p.m. It's a grown and sexy vibe with 80s and 90s R&B music, served with Tasty's great tasting menu, offering Tasty's burgers and fries, Tasty's shrimp, salmon, oxtails, mac and cheese, collard greens, smothered pork chops, potato salad, lemon pound cake, and so much more. And T-Dog is bringing out all his celebrity friends. And the only way you're gonna know who's there is by coming by T-Dog's all-new Tasty Soul Food Sports Bar and Grill. Join us for the grand opening on Saturday, May 1st at 2 p.m. 3770 Northeast 3rd Avenue, Pompano Beach. It's a grown and sexy vibe with 80s and 90s R&B music. Call and place your order now at 954-953-8856. A Tasty's experience is what you deserve. Tasty Soul Food Sports Bar and Grill. Home of the lemon pepper and sweet and tangy fried ribs. Due to COVID restrictions, mask must be worn upon entering the building.
Are you looking to advertise your business? Look no further. Pathways to Success is offering 3 30-second slots each Sunday of the month for $100. Please contact 561-331-1524 for all inquiries.
Welcome back to Pathway to Success. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Hunter, and we have with us attorney Norman Harris and Alicia Harris, and she's getting on set right now. And he's the attorney and owner of Champions for Justice at Law, and we've just been hearing his story. It's an interesting story of his we looked at his upbringing, we looked at touch a little on his career, and now we have, before we took the break, we looked on how he met the beautiful Alicia, and all that. So now we're going to look. It's good to have you on, Alicia.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Congratulations. This is such a great romantic story. I said something earlier to your husband, Norman. I would only dream of hearing such a story, really, if I watched Disney. But yeah. This is real. And for those who are watching, this is not a publicity stunt. This is real. I would like to ask you this question. What are some of the challenges that you both have faced as a couple so far?
Well, the first challenge was we met during COVID. And, trying to plan a wedding and trying to figure out family and friends who would actually attend to plan accordingly, trying to secure a venue. And the miraculous thing about the venue is everything was booked up because many weddings were postponed and there was not much availability. But the one date that became available for a venue that we liked happens to be February the 14th, 2021, which of course, was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
you both are so blessed. Isn't that amazing?
Lining up.
Yeah. It was way. It just happened that way.
It just happened that way.
Yeah.
Perfect romantic story. And it's a real one of reality.
Yes.
And what have been have you received any backlash from family, friends based on your decision to marry so quickly?
Amazingly, no. And I was concerned about my dad, and I think Alicia might have been concerned about her mom.
Yeah, I was.
But, you know, they both have been 100% supportive from day one. I distinctly remember calling my dad, and I was like, Dad, are you in a good mood? He's like, why are you asking me, am I in a good mood? I was like, I need to talk to you, but I need for you to be in a good mood to have this conversation. Then he was like, what do you want, boy? So I told him, and, you know, he has done nothing but welcome Alicia and been nice. And he came to the wedding and he gave words at the end of the wedding and blessed us as a couple, which like meant so much to me to get the blessings of my father at my wedding.
Yeah.
And Alicia's mom.
Well, he met my parents before he even met me. When he picked me up for the first date, I had him meet me at my parents' house because they weren't supposed to be home. And I thought that was a great meeting place because I live a little bit outside of Tampa, and that was closer to where he was coming from. And I don't usually have people come to my house, so I really get to know them. So I was like, well, meet me over here at my parents' house. And he pulled up, and surprisingly, I guess my parents, they were supposed to be out of town or something, but they didn't end up going, and they were there, and they met him before I actually did. So.
Wow, that must have been an amazing surprise. I mean, imagine for the first time going to meet the one that you've been communicating for so many months, and there goes the parents. Right. You have to pass the parental test first. How did they receive them?
Well, good
what
thing.
did they thought about him?
Well, good thing I mentioned him beforehand to my mother, and I told her a little bit about him because when she pulled up and saw him, she's like, oh, so I heard about you. You're the attorney. And I was like, well, good thing that it is. You know? So they got along, and they were there kind of when I came back to get my car, and my mom asked me how everything went. And she has been a fan of his since that day. I think she loves him more than she loves me at this point.
I have a funny story. So I believe in getting the blessings from the parents. So I went to her dad. Well, no, I went to the mom first. And of course, she gave me blessings. And I said, well, I need to talk to Pop, and I need to get blessings from Pop. She's like, oh, no. I give you his blessings for him. And I was like, wait. So eventually I went to Pop and I asked Pop if I could marry his daughter. And his response was, well, you know, my wife likes nobody, but for some reason she loves you.
And my mom, she's like one of those Caribbean women. She just says it. She just says where she thinks. So definitely tell you if she doesn't like you or not. And she likes him. So I was worried about her, and he was worried about his dad, and they both love us both. So we were happy about that.
Yeah. And then the next thing is I have 7 siblings, and she has 2 siblings. And so we wanted to make sure that, you know, siblings like, you know, each like us. So she wanted to make sure that I get along with her brother, and her brother is like one of my best friends. He's both. One lives in Tampa and one lives up north, and they both have been like blood brothers to me, even in a short period of time. And my sibling, matter of fact, my baby sister talks to Alicia more than she talks to me.
Yeah, so everything gelled pretty great. So
That's good. At first, when he said that he had 7 siblings, right, and you had 2, I thought Norman was going to say that you both are planning to have that would be what 9 kids.
Maybe if we had a minute.
I thought at first I thought that was what he was going to say, and I sat there and said, "Whoa, I hope it's not 9." Um, but how many kids you plan to have? He's from 7, and
Well, I have 2 already. So I have 2 boys. We already have 2 boys. So now we have our little princess, and I think we're gonna stop there, but you never know.
Well,
never
here's
know what can happen.
this year in May, I'm 45 years old. So in this first 2 weeks with our princess here, I've learned very quickly I don't get sleep at night.
Right.
So I don't know how much much longer I can do that as I grow older. But you know, if God gives grace and that's his,
Yes, he does.
you know, I won't kick against the prick.
He gives grace and he gives strength, right? And
Yes.
endurance. He does. But what would you say, both of you, because this is an amazing story and it's one that I think divine. It's really divine. To everyone, anyone watching that maybe think that this could be a publicity stunt or a cry for attention, what would you say to them?
I would first say that that's absolutely not true. As a matter of fact, nothing that was done in contemplation of what we're experiencing now. We just met each other. It was a divine moment. It was something miraculously happening, and we recognized and we seized the moment. Even with the proposal or the engagement, for an example, I had conversations with her and her best friend, and kind of had an idea what she likes. She likes cameras and things of that nature. So I hired a photographer to capture the moment, only because I knew it would be special to her. Little did I know that the pictures would be on Steve Harvey, would be on Pathway to Success, would be on Free News Channel 9, would be on, little did I know all those things. We were just following our hearts. And I'm thankful that we have been given platforms to just be inspiration to other people. Now, if people think differently, then our story is just not for them. And I'm okay with that.
I like that. I like that. What do you want to say to people who don't expect your marriage to last? Because this is such a great story, a wonderful story, an uncommon, unique one. It's evident that's divine. But there are always people out there that will always be haters.
Yes, we've noticed.
You have noticed that already, right? Since you've become public, since you've become famous and how you both met. What do you want to say to people who don't expect your marriage to last? What would you say to those people, those naysayers today?
Well, first of all, I would tell them that I have compassion for them, because anybody that would not see or recognize the beauty of love I would think have personal issues and problems. And I would have compassion for them and invite them to live beyond their brokenness and allow what they see to be an inspiration and not be critical, be a participant of the process and be inspired, and if they refuse the invitation, then I would just shake the dust from my feet and move on and be ignorant, let them be. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Your story today, this evening, is one of such great inspiration, and it shows you that you can find love in the midst of whatever dark situation that you may be going through. And love is real. I know a lot of people say that there's no love, no more love in the earth, but to that, just sitting here interviewing the both of you, I've recognized that love still exists. I believe in that. And you being a successful lawyer, businessman, and your marriage is thriving, can you name three things that you would tell yourself that three things that you'd want to tell viewers that they need to succeed in life.
Okay. Well, first I would say character.
Yes.
Have character, because it doesn't matter how talented we are. Um, Character should always be a priority. It's especially with anything, but especially with aspiration for success. Secondly, I would say competence, because you cannot just have a good heart without knowledge. You have to be competent at something. When people call on you, when people look up to you, when people expect from you, they expect for you to deliver, and to deliver with knowledge, and to deliver with competence. And thirdly, I would say courage, because it takes courage to make an impact. It takes courage to make important decisions that are needed to be made when doing things of value. We must have the courage to be decisional. The Bible even speaks about a double-minded person is unstable in all his or her ways. So I would say character, competence, and courage.
Do you have any plans of writing a book on anytime soon? Because I really believe it would be a bestseller.
I appreciate that, and I've heard that if my wife had to step off because the little one started to cry, but she would tell. We've heard that so much within the last 12 months.
We're thinking about it.
You know, I'm thinking about it. You know, it's just one more thing to do, and I'm trying to be like that bumblebee and not think about it and just flap and fly. So it may be on the horizon.
and also a movie. I really believe that. But what would be good also, I want to ask this next question. Do you plan on doing any future couples counseling for those who share some, for me, a similar story like you, like a reality show? Have you a reality show where you have couples that have shared this similar like stories? Do you have any plans to do that?
I would be open to the opportunity, although it's not something that I have necessarily pursued. But if it's a part of the journey and it will inspire others, I would welcome the opportunity. And Alicia and I did do a segment with Netflix. I think it was Love is Blind. So we got a taste of kind of what it would be like. So, you know, I'm open. I'm open.
I think love is open, wide open, not blind. But anyway,
that was the show. We just went with the show.
I know, I know. You went with the show, but as Elisa was saying, being that I'm Caribbean, you know, Caribbean, I'm more outspoken. But
Yeah.
where do you see yourselves in the next 5 years?
Oh, in the next 5 years, I see myself as being happily married with a 5-year-old, and I believe I shared with you. I incorporated a ministry, Vertical Renewal. As a matter of fact, we are on Instagram as vertical.renewal. We just started a page, and we are making plans to launch sometime this summer. So in the next 5 years, I hope to expand my platform broader than practicing law, and expand the platform to ministry so that I could reach people saved from hell and saved from jail.
Oh my word, you have heard it right here. So, as a successful businessman, successful attorney, successful in marriage, romance, father, husband, and owner of his own law firm, and now get ready for this summer, the launch
Yes,
of
sir.
his ministry online,
Yes, sir.
as well as who knows, in the future, maybe 2023, there could be a church in the works. And I could be one of those who could come out to sit and to hear you minister the gospel.
I would love that. I'm a firm advocate of faith, family, and business.
I like that. In closing, what advice can you give to the viewers that can motivate, motivate, inspire, and direct them into their path of success?
I would say take every challenge as a stepping stone to move you one step closer to your ambition. And never be afraid to dream big in small places. You might just surprise yourself.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Well, you have heard it from the best right here. Love is still going on after Valentine's Day. And that's what I like. I keep saying to people that love should be a daily thing being practiced, not only on one day, February the 14th. And I want to just congratulate you and Alicia on your beautiful story coming on Pathway to Success, and also your beautiful daughter, Journey. I like that name, Journey.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like that name.
May I just say this too in closing, Dr. Hunter?
Yes.
Love in marriage takes work.
Mm-hmm.
And many days that work is hard, H-A-R-D, hard work. But every day it is heart, H-E-A-R-T work. And that makes it worth it all.
I like that. Wow. That's the best way to end Pathway to Success this week. I want to thank you for joining us on this show. Have a great week. Thank you so much.